When I first moved in with Brandon, I thought I was just getting a better place. Good rent, clean kitchen, no drama. We were friends from college. Well, not exactly close friends. More like he was the popular one everybody knew, and I was just happened to orbit close enough to get a reply when I messaged him about the spare room. He said yes instantly. I remember standing in the doorway that first day, holding my one suitcase and seeing him. Just on the couch, in sweatpants, no shirt, controller in hand, feet up, and his head turned lazily toward me. Dude, welcome. You hungry? That's what he told me. I think that was the first time I noticed the way he looked at me. Like, I was already something soft, easy, harmless. Like, I was not a real man. I didn't mind it at first. It started small. He would toss my laundry in the hallway, and then I'll pick it up without thinking. He would leave the dishes in the sink, and I'll wash them during my lunch break. One night, I folded his clothes because they'd been sitting in the dryer for days, and I was just tired of the mess. And when he saw me like doing all this, he raised an eyebrow. Damn, he said. Didn't know I had a housewife. I laughed awkwardly. He walked past me, slapped my butt lightly, and kept going. It was a joke, right? The nicknames came next. You are such a tidy little princess, he would say when I cleaned the kitchen. Or morning cupcake every time I brought him coffee. Or he would call me baby girl when I texted to see if he needed anything on my way home. At first, I told myself it was just his humor. Brandon, was always like that. Playful, cocky, he kind of flirted with everyone. He knows that he's the kind of man that everybody likes. But he never actually said those things to anyone else, just me. And what messed me up the most was that I didn't hate it. I didn't. One Friday night, he had a girl over. He made me clean the whole house before she came because he told me she was super, super hot and he really wanted to impress her. And I did. I cleaned the whole house. And when they came in, I was already in my room, so I didn't get the opportunity to see her, but I could hear everything. My door was a bit cracked open with lights off, so they must have thought I was sleeping, but I could actually hear everything. The laughter, the conversation, the tension, the loud voices. And then she asked him, what about your roommate? Is he nice? And he said, my roommate? Oh, yeah, he's like my maid. He's probably in his room just folding my socks right now. He just does everything, absolutely everything I tell him to do. And he does it. He's a good boy, but he's a bish. She laughed. He laughed. They were both laughing at me. And I heard it everything. I was just there, sitting in my dark, holding to a pillow, just thinking, I wasn't folding his socks, but I did that earlier that day. So he was actually right. And hearing him say like that, like owning me, that did something to me I still can't fully explain. I didn't sleep that night, but I did something else. After that, things changed completely. He started leaving me options for what to wear around the house. A pink hoodie, shorts, shorter shorts. One time, he even left me a pair of fuzzy socks with little hearts on them. Wear these, he said casually. They will match your vibe. And I did. I wore them every time. No one was forcing me, no one was making me do it. There was no commands. It was just him looking at me like he already knew I would obey. And I did. Because when I wore what he gave me, he smiled more. He looked at me longer. He gave me more attention. And I craved that. I craved him noticing me, giving me attention, even if it meant losing pieces of myself. One night, when I went to my room after showering, I noticed that my clothes were gone. I usually leave my clothes right on my bed so they are ready for me. But no, they were gone. And instead of my clothes on my bed, I found a tiny tank top, tiny shorts, and they were both pink. These were not my clothes. Where were my clothes? I stared at them and I said, Brandon, Brandon? And from the kitchen, I heard, laundry day. Just wear those, you leave. He didn't sound like he was joking at all. I waited 5 minutes, 10. I tried to find something else to wear, but nothing. So I just had to wear them, you know? They were so small. They were like 2 sizes smaller than my size. So they were very tight. And I just felt so ridiculous. And pink is definitely not my color. But when I walked out, of my room, he looked me up and down and smirked. Finally, he said, you look perfect. And I turned bright red, but I didn't change. It became our routine after that. He would toss me clothes, he would call me cute, and tell me to be a good little roommate. Or maid sometimes. Sometimes I would catch him watching me from the couch while I vacuumed or hoovered or folded his shirts. Sometimes he would throw me his gym bag and say, handle this, baby girl. And I would, without questions. I don't know when it stopped being a joke, or maybe it never was. Maybe I was the joke all along. One night, while I was making dinner, he walked in, sweaty from the gym, shirtless, headphones, and listening to music. I was just wearing the pink hoodie, the hoodie he gave me, and the socks, and that's it. He looked at me and he told me, do you ever think what you would be if you weren't pretending so hard? I looked at him like, what do you mean? And he stepped closer. His voice dropped. I mean, you serve me dinner, you clean, you wear what I tell you, you blush when I tease you. What does that sound to you? I got nervous and I swallowed. Roommate? He laughed. No, that sounds like a maid. You're not a roommate, you're a maid. And then I looked down at myself, just wearing a pink hoodie, shaved arms, shaved legs. The apron I didn't mean to put on, but did anyways. I wanted to deny it. I wanted to scream that I wasn't that. But my body said otherwise. And Brandon, he just smiled. Don't worry, he said, while taking the plate off my hands. You're a good one. No, you're a good boy. Or should I call you a good girl? And I just stood there, nervous, but so happy and just accepting it. Up to this day, I'm still here, still living with him, still wearing his clothes. Well, the clothes that he gave me. Because the clothes that he wears, that's for alphas. I'm wearing everything pink nowadays. And I still wait for him to get home so I can do whatever he wants me to do. We never kissed or touched, but he owns me more than anyone ever has. And I wonder if he always planned this. If from the moment I moved in, he saw the little cracks in my armor and realized that I'm not like the other men. I'm like softer. I'm not at their level. And maybe he decided because of that he would break me gently, with nicknames, with tasks. I don't think roommates do this, right? Thank you guys for listening. I hope you really enjoyed it. If this story made you feel something, please leave a comment. I'll see you in the next video.